Alien Romulus is a film I had enjoyed quite a lot, which is interesting considering that this franchise has struggled quite recently with the last two releases. But in many ways, does this live up to a hype? I'll say yes, it absolutely does. This was a nice return to form, and while I've never been a huge fan of this franchise, I've always greatly appreciated the first two installments, and while Alien 3 wasn't a great film in my opinion, I still like that one as well. As far as the other movies are concerned, Alien Resurrection and the AVP films, they're forgivable, and Prometheus along with Alien Covenant, I thought they was alright for what they were, but they could have been much better. So the story of this one is that a group of space coloniers, they travel to a derelict space station in order to scavenge for supplies. But they soon come across horrors they possibly couldn't have imagined. Going into this one, I knew what I was getting because Faraday Alvarez, he knows how to direct a good horror movie. I've only seen Don't Breathe from him, but in that film, it's very claustrophobic. I had that same feeling watching this. I was nervous for the characters, I had goosebumps, and I was just basically on the edge of my seat just because how intense this whole thing really is. Even though it takes a while for this movie to really get going, once it does not let up until the end credits. At the end of the day, if you're a fan of this franchise, then go out and see this because it is a great Alien film in my opinion. I have to give credit to director Fede Alvarez. He did his homework. He had played the entirety of Alien Isolation, and that is a scary game. I mean, you're sneaking about while the xenomorph is hunting you. And not only does this film get inspiration from that game, but also gets inspiration from the first two Alien films. And of course, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Even though these two movies didn't give a huge cult following, I thought they was alright. I mean, we never got that trilogy. But what makes this film terrifying is just how the facehuggers are amped up. Seriously, I was feeling a sense of dread for the characters just because they was all over the damn place. Not only that, but character-wise, I thought that Kelly Spain did a great job playing Rain. Her dynamic relationship with Annie, played by David Johnson, both of them are highlights here. I'm hoping that Rain returns in a sequel just because she is that interesting of a character. And then there's Archie Renault. I like his portrayal as Tyler. Now, everybody else, well, let's just say they did a decent job here. This movie, yeah, it's intense. It's a little scary. But I didn't feel a whole lot of dread in some of the earlier parts because it is a slow build-up. I did like how the spaceship looked, the creature designs. It was all nicely done. Like I said, Faraday Alvarez, he done his research. He's probably a big fan of this franchise, and considering how this movie ends, it definitely leads me to think, I hope he returns because he did such a great job directing this. This movie definitely has some good practical effects, and that's what we need more of nowadays in Hollywood because CGI can only go so far. And the thing is that this movie, it is straight up horror. It doesn't get too over the top, doesn't get absurd. I absolutely think this is the third best Alien film in the franchise after the first two. And the thing is that I'll probably have to rewatch it again just to see if I think that this is one of my favorite movies of the year. Overall, when it comes down to it, this is an interesting, intense horror film that doesn't go too over the top. It doesn't mess up the lore. There's some nice references. And quite frankly, it's also a film that is just downright entertaining when it's all said and done. I'm giving this film an 8 out of 10. I had entertaining time. The three characters I had mentioned, they are interesting here. The story is very good. And bringing horror back to this movie franchise is something that was desperately needed because nothing against Prometheus and Alien Covenant, but those two movies and some of the earlier installments, they were divisive among fans. One thing I want to point out is that even though there are references to the other films, I don't think it's nostalgia just for the sake of it. And this is a well-made movie because I wasn't disappointed or bored whatsoever throughout its entire runtime. Hats off to everybody who had worked on this because they made one of the best entries in this franchise since the 1986 film, and that says a lot. And that's my review of Alien Romulus. Okay, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie if you have seen it. Also, let me know what is your favorite and least favorite Alien films from this franchise. Alright, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.